Alright, so it's Tuesday, 2:02 p.m. I've been up for 3 hours or whatnot, getting some other stuff done. I've decided to go ahead and start a whole new vlog series and that sort of thing, which I'm sure the Frank will be very happy about. I decided to go ahead and show you my process for making a video from pretty much start to finish. So I've got an old video here. It was right after that first recording with Little Red Cat and crew with Dead by Daylight. We ended up playing some Deceit. I'd never played it before, and I recorded the experience. So right now I'm pulling that from source. It's loaded up in Adobe Premiere, and before I really get started, I've got to create, I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before, proxies. So that's being done right now. Proxies let me smoothly move through the timeline and edit without it chunking up and slowing down. It helps a lot, so that's why I do it. It just takes a little bit of time. It's about a 45-minute long video if I remember correctly. It might be an hour, so it takes a little bit of time for the proxies to be made. Seeing as that's going to be going for a little bit, I'm gonna go get the next massively important part of this process, some caffeine. Okay, now that that's done and the other unavoidable distractions have been taken care of, I can get back to the actual editing, and that's crooked. I broke my other tripod, so I haven't fixed it yet, so we'll get this rickety set up here. Now that the proxies are made, I can close that down and go ahead and drag in my video. Now, part of the reason I have to do it this way is because I record 5 different audio channels from OBS when I'm recording a game or recording a stream. That's what lets me separate out Discord, video game audio, the microphone, music, system sounds. They're all on their own separate channel, so I can edit them later without affecting all the other audio. But I don't have a player, I don't know of a player, a video player, that will play all the tracks at the same time. If any of you know of one, let me know. But that means I have to load it into Premiere to be able to hear the whole thing anyway. So I'm actually going to fire up my stream PC and record from this angle so you can see actually what's going on the screen. I'll probably flip back and forth, and we'll go from there. Alright, so shifting audio over. Sorry if that sounds a little weird, but here we go. So, as I was saying, here, let me expand these here. I prefer to expand them just a bit. We have 5 audio channels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where my microphone is. That's the voice chat. That's Discord right there on this spot here. Game audio is actually here, so from my gaming PC, all the audio there goes there. Alright, so all I'm going to do here is scan through and cut out places that don't work. Nice thing with Adobe Premiere is all you have to do to cut a place out is mark in with I, mark out with O, and then you press the apostrophe key, and thunk, automatically cuts all that out. So you don't have to worry about using the cut tool and, you know, slicing here and slicing there and making sure you got it where you want and back and forth. And nope, you don't have to do that. You can just do this, and that works very, very nicely.
It's kind of like you don't, there's two.
So I'll mark in first.
It's kind of like you don't.
And like I was saying, I'm looking at the camera that isn't recording. And like I was saying, we're just going to scan through, see what's usable, see if it's even worth making an episode for. So, let's go.
Oh.
Actually, I'm going to stop myself there. Actually, before I do all the scanning through, because it just makes it a heck of a lot easier, I'm going to go ahead and do my audio corrections first on the entire thing, so it's all set up for anything I do later. So I actually lock out all the parts that I don't need, leave these unlocked, these right here. Actually, I'm going to lock off the one I'm not doing right at that moment, and then start getting into effects. Now, I tend to do first a audio gain. I normalize all peaks while it's calculating to -0.1. This will make it so It's almost peaking, but not going to actually peak. So it maximizes the volume out, and then I don't have to worry about, well, this is too quiet, and I've already bounced out all the rest. No, everything's maxed. So, do that. Then I'm going to do audio effects and dynamics processing. This right here, once we get to effects controls, will let me kind of equalize the voice out. So actually I tend to go with rock vocal as a bass here, and I start playing around. Each time I record's a little different. I tend to play around with audio setup just a bit on the recording side, and it makes it problematic. I do tend to boost this 4 decibels, because this also has a tendency to quiet things down, and just listen around to see. So it's like Dead by Daylight meets Trouble in Terrorist
I'm
Town.
honestly
So you can listen and you can hear just how that balances out. You can watch your audio monitor
like
here, so it's not peaking. As I get to a louder area here. Yeah, I downloaded it while you were all...
Okay.
Alright, so it can use a little bit more boost here. And we're gonna do a 3.8. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, I downloaded it while you were all...
Okay.
You guys talked about it being free. No, whoa, didn't mean to create an extra. Alright, let's... And just play around. Yeah, I downloaded it while you were all...
Okay.
You guys talked about it being free to play, and I'm like, give it a try. With it. Alright, that's actually sounded pretty good right now. So it's like... 16 to 1 is probably not... It's like... Real good test here, actually, is see how this right here is a little loud and then it gets a little quiet. Well, I'm in game at the moment. What do I do? Hello. Alright, so you can hear that I got a little quiet there. We're just gonna go ahead and mess with this. Well, I'm in game at the moment. See, that it got even quieter. Show. I misclicked. Let's bring that up. Well, I'm in game at the moment. Got a cough on there. Yeah, I downloaded it while you were all...
Okay.
That sounds a little too compressed, so we'll flatten it out. Okay, so back to the quiet area. Well, I'm in game at the moment. What do I do?
Hello, friend.
100 to 1. Well, I'm in game at the moment. What do I do?
Hello.
Alright, so you can hear that pretty much leveled almost all of that out. Well, I'm in game at the moment. What do I do? So that makes it sound just a little too artificial, so let's bring that down. I'm actually going to bump that up to 6. So it's like Dead by Daylight meets, what do I do?
Hello, friends. How are you?
Alright, so the quiet areas
game at
moment, what do I do?
Hello,
can now be heard. And it doesn't sound super.
Yeah, I downloaded it while you were all...
Actually it does a little, so let's... I'm in game at the moment. What do I do?
Hello,
Alright, so we got some of our dynamic range back there. Alright, so we're going to leave that as is. Always save frequently. The other thing we're going to do, just because anywhere possibly here could be a lot louder. Yeah, like right here. Let's see if we peak here. Oh, no, that's disgusting. What a place to choose, huh? Of course, that would be much louder. I'm yelling. But yeah, so we're going to throw on a hard limiter as well. Now this, we're going to set this to true peak. So it's going to make sure nothing goes above this. It's doing -1 decibels. Let's actually limit to the -1. So this will make sure none of that does. It does not go over. So it's like Dead by Daylight meets Trouble in Terrorist Town. Except it added a boost to it on its own, didn't it? Input boost, no. We'll leave that at 0 because we're already doing that on the dynamic processing. So it's like Dead by Daylight meets... Alright, so we're going to leave it at that. Might add a little bit more bass or whatnot later, because obviously I did not have... So it's like Dead by Daylight meets... So yeah, you're probably sick of hearing that line by now, but it's a little quiet. It's not the audio setup that I use now, so I may add some bass in the background. We'll see. now that that part's set up, we're going to go ahead and do pretty much the exact same thing to the Discord here. Audio gain, negative 0.1.
And they can transform at night and eat you.
Alright, so that definitely helped that a bit, but we are also going to add dynamic processing to this. And pretty much the exact same thing, but we're going to try voiceover first.
It's kind of like you don't
And makeup gain 6.
transform at night and eat you.
And I don't actually like, oh no, not vocal limiter, rock vocal. We'll do the same, and we'll bump that up 6 again, but I don't like how much background noise.
It's kind of like you don't, there's 2 killers, you don't know who's infected.
So there's still a lot of background noise, so let's bump this here. Alright, so we're going to leave that about there. That was the other nice thing with Premiere while you're doing this. If your setup supports it, you can listen to the changes as you drag it around. You don't have to just go by a mathematical formula. I remember what the formula was, or at least I did. This isn't exactly doing this within Audacity, within a direct audio editor, so there's a little bit more playing around, and, you know, I like doing it by ear just for speed, and because, you know, sometimes your ears are the best way for you to know. So that's all set. I'm also going to throw the hard limiter on here too, and make that, and make sure this is back down to 0 again. Now that that's all done, now we can get to the actual playing through, marking in and out, deleting negative space, and finding out if this is worthy of being an episode or not, after saving yet again. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, most of this is rough cutting. I'll get to the more fine cuts later. This is just blocking out, getting rid of negative space and pointless things, and then fine-tuning after the fact. A nice other trick here if you're using a Premiere and such. Now, I and O, as I mentioned before, that's in and out. For that selection, L, though, will play. Get a 10 goes faster. You can scrub through very quickly, but it can make it difficult to actually hear what's being said. Yeah, so you might have to go back. It's useful when it's useful. Okay, so got that rough cutting done. Next bit here is I'm going to go ahead and save it again, which I just did, but then I'm also, because there's still more, there's still like 24, it's a total of 24 minutes, so there's still possibly more, but this seems like a good place to cut it off right now. But I'm going to go ahead and save this as Deceit 2. Now, go ahead and close project. And then open up Deceit 1 again. And now, I'm going to select everything that's beyond this one.
I had this.
Oh, toast.
Yeah, you're.
Behind that point, and Shift Delete, bunk, gone. So now we've got a 6-minute video, and we can start doing our refining in terms of what's a good cut and what isn't. Before I do that, though, I'm going to handle some actual color work here because I want to change that. So I need to make a new layer. a rectangle and place this over top. Expand it so it fits. And now we make it an adjustment layer. So now it'll affect that, but here I can go ahead and start correcting some of the color aberration that's happening here, and we'll get to a frame where you can see my face, modify the exposure, see how, and now you can see that pretty much just affects that area. Oh, that's just a little too, there we go. That area, but not the game. So I can color correct this. Oh, that's right. I got a new way I'm doing this. Let's reset you. So actually, what I want to do is go to Effects, Video Effects. In this particular one, I'm using full range, legal to full range 8-bit, and that noticeably sharpens that up. So if I turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, that brings the contrasts back to a better, more natural thing. So I'm actually going to go to color wheels and play around with the highlights and the shadows. Again, turn it off, turn it on. Alright, so it's still just a little bit too much glare, so let's bring down the whites there, get some of that shine off of my forehead. Let's zoom in, actually. Okay. We're going to leave exposure as is, contrast pretty much as is, shadows leave to there. Like I said, that needs to be changed because right now I just look a little wrong. And white balance. Okay, so it was a little to the blue. So now let's look at this is now. That's the before. That's the after. Before, after. Actually, I can bring up the whites just a little bit. Maybe actually bring up, no, leave the exposure kind of where it is. All right, so I like the way that looks right now. So, nice thing with this being an adjustment layer is this is now separate of all of the videos below it. That means I can make any change to anything else I want and just drag this layer over top. It's not going to affect anything else, and I don't have to, if I want to change something, I can just chop it up. And why did this just crash? This better not have just crashed. I think Adobe just crashed. Yep. So I lost all of that work that I just did. So in that case, I'm going to step away for a bit and calm down while this reboots. Because that is annoying in the extreme.